everyone wants to be successful, and you become successful by solving problems for other people. The bigger the problem, or the more often you solve it for more people, the more successful you will be, the more money you will earn, the more they will give you, the happier you'll be, and so on. But you also succeed by solving problems for yourself. So when you have a setback or adversity, what you do is you say, what can I do now? What's my next step? How can I solve this? What can I do more of or less of? What do I need to start doing or stop doing? And it never occurs to you that you're just going to quit. That is off the table.
Yes.
The only thing that's on the table is how do we deal with this? And so you become intensely solution-oriented. And I've taught complete half-day and full-day courses on learning how to solve problems and make decisions. And I've written books on it and audio programs and so on. Because what we do in life from beginning to end is we solve problems. Is if you were to look at your business card, you can take off any title that's there and just write problem solver. Because all of your life, from dawn till dusk, you will be solving problems. Little problems, you run out of toothpaste at home, big problems, your client cancels an order, and so on. All of your life, from dawn to dusk, you solve problems and make decisions. And the better you get at it, so it becomes almost like an automatic response. It gets to the point where people start to come to you. And they say, look, I've got this problem, and you just seem to solve problems so well. What can we do? So you ask questions. What exactly is the problem? How did it occur? When did it occur? Where did it occur? Who does it affect? What are the various solutions that we can consider? And so on. And I teach these all the time. So people, instead of responding to a problem with anger or disappointment, they respond constructively. They say, wait a minute, whatever it is, I can solve it. I just have to find a way to solve it. And pretty soon they become automatic. They breathe in, they breathe out, they solve the problem. And it never enters their mind that they can do it. It's just a matter of time. Many solutions don't work. Sometimes you will have solutions that don't work at all, and that are very expensive or maybe even fatal. And those things you can't do much about. But basically, most things you can solve. I came from a poor background. My parents never had any money. They were working people. My father was a carpenter. My mother was a nurse. I left school without graduating. I worked at laboring jobs for several years. And then I got into sales when I could no longer find a laboring job, like most people in sales today. And then I started asking a question which changed my life. And the question is, why is it that some people are more successful than others? Why is this? And I looked around me and I saw people, now I was 23, 24, people younger than me doing better than me. And they weren't any smarter than me. And some of them were dumber. One of the things I say is that nothing will make you madder than to see somebody who's dumber than you, who's doing better than you. And you say, how can this idiot be doing so well? And I began asking this question. In selling, I began asking, why is it that some salespeople are more successful than others? And I did something that very few people ever do. I found later, as I went to the best salespeople and I said, how come you're so successful? And they told me what they were doing, and I did it. And I made more sales. And so people said, how come you're making so many sales? So I told them, and they did it, and their sales went up. And when I got into business, I asked managers, how do you manage in a business like this? How do you organize it? And they told me, and I did it. And so one of the greatest success principles that you'll ever find is learn from the experts. Learn from the people who are already demonstrating the results that you want to get. Read their books, listen to their programs, attend their courses, learn from, and ask them. And they will always tell you. And you can save yourself years of hard work by simply learning from people who've already learned it by themselves. My favorite word in life is clarity. The greater clarity you have with regard to what you're trying to accomplish, the faster you'll achieve it. Yeah. In fact, people with clear written goals and plans with priorities accomplish 10 times as much in life as people without. It's very simple. It's the 10 times factor. Then make sure that everybody that works with you is crystal clear about what job they're supposed to do. Be clear about your 3 most important tasks and help everybody else be clear about their 3 most important tasks. So you get everybody always working on the 3 most important things they can do. And you hire other people who can do the task at a lower rate than your best people. You free them up from small tasks so they can do the things that make the greatest contribution to your overall goals. Yeah. That's the job of the leader. Decide upon your goals and your most important goal. And then every day begin your day with a list. best time to write a list is the night before, because when you write a list the night before, the next morning you'll come up with all kinds of ideas for the list. It's like goals for the day. Then what you do is you look at your list and you say, if I could only do one thing on this list, what one activity, what one task would I want to be sure to complete before I left town for a month? All right? And that becomes your most important task for the day. Now, the eat the frog concept comes from a story where they say the first thing that you do in the morning is you eat a live frog, you'll have the satisfaction of going through the day knowing that's probably the worst thing that can happen to you, is eating a live frog. And the two corollaries of this principle are, if you have to eat 2 frogs, eat the ugliest one first. Now, the frog is your biggest task. It's the one you're most likely to procrastinate on. It's also the one that will have the greatest positive impact on your career if you do it now. And so if you have 2 really important tasks, do the most important one. We say do the worst first. Do the biggest, ugliest one. And the second corollary is that if you have to eat a frog at all, it does not pay to sit and look at it for too long. So what you do is you start on that task. Now, when I've done this talk, or part of this talk for corporations, very often they will go out and they will have brass frogs made up for all their executives. And the brass frog sits on the executive's desk. And it sits there so when they come into work, the first thing they see is the frog. Or they plan their day and they put the frog on top of the plan. First thing they see is the frog, and it reminds them, start and do the worst first. Do the task that has the biggest ramifications first. And then discipline yourself to work single-mindedly at that task. No matter what happens, if you get pulled away, keep coming back to the task like a gyroscope keeps coming back to center. Keep on that task, because you've now decided that everything else is a relative waste of time except this task. It doesn't mean they're a waste of time, but relative or in comparison with this task, everything else is secondary or worse. If you can do that and develop the habit of doing that, you will double your productivity the first day, and then it will just continue to increase for the rest of your career. You will be so productive, you'll get so much done, you'll get more responsibilities, you'll get more opportunities. But here's the wonderful thing. Everybody wants to feel like a winner. Everybody wants to feel like a winner. So how do you get the winning feeling? Simple answer, you win. Okay, how do you win? Well, you cross the finish line first. Now, fortunately, in life, what successful people do, and I learned this after many years, it's so important, is they set up finish lines for themselves that they can cross. And so, if you complete a task of any value, it's like winning a little bit, and you feel like a winner. You start, you work, you complete the task. Even if all you do is wash your car and clean out the inside, you stand back, you feel happy. Because whenever you win, your brain releases endorphins. And endorphins are called nature's happy drug. And they make you feel happy. And your self-esteem goes up. And your self-confidence goes up. And you feel happier and more personable. You're actually a more charming person, believe it or not. When you set up a task and you complete it, you feel like a winner. Your endorphins go up. Your self-esteem improves. Your self-confidence goes up. Now, if you have a list of tasks to do, and you choose to do your most important task, and you complete it, you get a rush. It's called an endorphin rush, like that, and your brain releases endorphins which flood your system and make you actually feel exhilarated. You almost laugh out loud. You're happy. Your heart rate goes up. You're smiling. Sometimes you will stay and work late at night to complete a task, and you get it done at 2 or 3 in the morning, and you finish it. And even though you should be exhausted, you're happy. You can't sleep. You're walking around. You watch television. Because you feel great. So what do winners do? Is they recreate this feeling over and over until it becomes a positive addiction. Now, positive addiction is a very interesting subject. You can get a negative addiction to an illegal drug, or you can develop a positive addiction to endorphins. And positive addictions are fed by setting and completing important tasks that have an important role in your life. People say, well, don't you lose your spontaneity if you're always working on top tasks? No, you're happy all the time, and you are respected and esteemed by the people around you, and you feel proud, and you have a positive self-image, and people like you, and you earn more money. What's to complain about that? So therefore, it's a very simple thing, and that's why the book transforms people's lives. It takes them from rags to riches. Make a list, Identify your most important task, start on that, and stay with it until it's done. World-class people have a much bigger vision of what is possible for them.
Yeah.
One of the things techniques I learned many years ago from an expert was called X to 10X. X to 10X, which means imagine that you could go from X, your current income, to 10X, 10 times your current income. And your first response to that is that's completely preposterous. There's no way that I could increase my income 10 times.
Yeah.
It's not possible. So then I'll ask an audience, I'll say, well, is there any chance at all that you could increase your income by 10 times in the course of your lifetime? Is there maybe one chance in 1,000? Everybody will say, well, there's maybe one chance in 1,000. Okay, then I'll say, well, now how many people here from the time you took your first job until now have already doubled your income? Every hand goes up. Tripled, most hands go up. Quadrupled, lots of hands go up. I said, so you already doubled your income, tripled your income. So all you need to do now is do the same things that you did to double and triple your income, and you'll double and triple it again, and double and triple it again, and then you'll have increased your income 10 times. And there are people all over the world who are earning 10 times as much as you, and they're no better and no smarter than you are. And what this does is it explodes your thinking, because most of us begin to develop narrow thinking around our current income. And then we adjust our lives, we adjust our appetites, the restaurants we go to, the food we eat, the home we live in, the clothes we wear, the car we drive. We forced our whole world to fit into our current income, whereas top people create a vision. Here's an interesting point. Peter Drucker said that if you do not have a vision to be a world leader when you start your business on your kitchen table, you'll probably never be very successful. So if you're starting your business on a kitchen table, imagine you could be a world leader. And then you ask the question, well, if I was the world leader in my field, how would I be different from today? How would my company be different from today? We were just talking earlier about Steve Jobs and Apple Computer. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak started out in a garage with an idea to put together pieces and make a little Apple computer that people could have at home. Bill Gates of Microsoft started off with this idea that if they could make it usable, you could have a PC on every desktop. Everyone's heard about that. That was his vision, a PC on every desktop in the world. When he said this in the late 70s, everybody said he must be crazy. The heads of the IBM were saying, there's no reason for anyone to have a computer at home. There's no reason for anyone to have a personal computer. And within a couple of years, they were literally avalanched out of the business because you find that everybody wanted a personal computer. The only question was the technology to build it and the programs to operate. Today, if you don't have a computer, you're living in the Stone Ages. People, your telephone is a computer. You have an iPad, you have a computer at home, you have a... So you start thinking of, if your business was world class, if you were world class, how would you be different from today? And then here's the key. This is the key. Take the first step. The first step is always the hardest step because it forces you, like a chick breaking out of an egg when it hatches. The first step forces you to break out of your comfort zone. And the comfort zone is so strong that probably 90% of people are held back from their full potential all their life because of this vice-like comfort zone. And when you take the first step, the only way you can do it is break out. And suddenly you see the second step and the third step and the fourth step. And then as you take the steps, your self-esteem goes up and your self-confidence goes up and you become more creative and you start to think of all kinds of ideas. And people say, what has gotten into you? I mean, what are you smoking? Because whatever it is, you should share it with the others. And so this is the difference between top people, is they have a big idea of what's possible and they take the first step. When I began to study self-made millionaires in my 30s, because I realized I always wanted to be a millionaire, but I had never studied them. And 85% of self-made millionaires, when they were asked, how did you become a millionaire with all the competition? They said, 85% said, hard work. They said, it's not a miracle. I wasn't smarter. I didn't get good grades. I didn't come from a wealthy family, but I was willing to work harder than anyone else. And that was my basic personality anyway, work harder than anyone else. And I have never found an exception to that worldwide in every language and culture. Successful people work harder than the average person, and very hard. The average successful person works 6 days a week, 59 hours. In the beginning of their career, sometimes it's 7 days a week and 80 hours. The average is 59 hours, 6 days a week. And I was listening to an interview of a very successful Hollywood impresario, and the interviewer was saying, "What do you do on the weekends with your spare time?" And he said, pause. He said, "I don't know any successful people who don't work less than 6 days a week. Everybody works 6. I mean, on the weekends, you work. That's what successful people, they work long nights as well." And so many people, unfortunately, never were told that. That if you want to be successful, because everybody wants to be successful, so the competition is fierce. Everybody wants to be successful. And nobody's better than you, and nobody's smarter than you. You have exactly the same abilities. Just like you can drive a car, you can be successful. You can drive a car, you can become wealthy. These people who are wealthy are people who just worked harder than the average person and worked harder for a long time. All negativity in your life, all failure and frustration, all negative emotions comes from your failure to accept responsibility. And if you look at our political problems and our welfare and our problems everywhere in the world today, you'll find that at the heart there's people that will not accept responsibility. They blame someone or something else for their problems. And if you do that, you have to first of all realize that it's not true. You are responsible for your own life. Nobody put a gun to your head and made you do or not do anything. And accept responsibility. Don't blame other people. And I teach my audiences in my 2-day seminar to chant, "I am responsible. I am responsible. I am responsible." And have absolutely no grudges, no blame, no anger toward anyone or anything else. Because what that does is it just consumes you, eats you alive. So you'll find that it's so many people that all they think about is other people who have hurt them or done them dirty or need to be punished and so on. And you've heard me talk about you never think about other people in negative terms because it hurts you. It's like punching yourself in the face with your own fist. And the second turning point for me was learning how to write down your goals. If you are not writing down goals, then you are earning a fraction of what you can earn. If you want to increase your income by 10 times, write down your goals and make a plan to achieve the goals and then work on the plan every day. Accept responsibility, set your goals and work on them every day. And then number 3, which is the magic, is dedicate your whole life to continuous learning. As Peter Drucker said, leaders are learners, is they learn all the time. Now, when I began teaching, there were about 1 or 2 billionaires in the world. Today, there's about 2,500 billionaires. And they're now starting to do some really intense interviews of billionaires to ask them about their lifestyle. Number 1 is every billionaire has worked very, very hard. 87% are self-made. They started with nothing and became billionaires in the course of their working lifetime. And you just think of the ones that are the most famous, whether it's Bill Gates or Warren Buffett or
Richard Branson,
all these people, they are starting off with nothing. And what they say is that they study an average of 60 to 120 minutes a day. Warren Buffett reads 500 pages a day.
Wow.
He organizes his life, he works 2 or 3 hours, and he reads the rest of the time. And they asked Buffett this question, and the question is, why are you so successful? And he says, it's because of my secret. And my secret is I just say no to everything that is not moving me toward my 1 or 2 most important goals. I just say no. I don't do anything else that is not moving me toward my goals. And if a person watching this would decide exactly what they want and pick a simple goal, like to double your income within the next 6 to 12 months. That's a good goal, eminently achievable. You're surrounded by people who have done it already in the last 12 months and who are going to do it in the next 6 to 12 months. So make a decision to be one of them, all right? Then make a plan to achieve it. Why aren't you already earning twice as much? And pretty soon, if you ask the question, the answer will pop up. And then just start doing what you need to do every single day. And then read, learn, listen, upgrade your skills, because you can learn anything you need to learn. And the more you learn, the more you can learn. Your level of self-esteem or self-worth, your sense of personal value, the amount that you like yourself and respect yourself, determines the entire quality of your life. It determines the goals you set and how big they are. It determines how much you believe in yourself, which is how much you persist in your goals. It determines what you learn. It determines how much you like other people, how much they like you back. So the psychology of achievement is based around this concept that the more you do the things that make you feel good about yourself, which is setting goals, working toward them, treating people well, learning, taking good care of yourself, all the positive things that you do, raise your self-esteem, improve your self-image, improve the quality of your relationships with other people, and enable you to have a wonderful life. And that just set me off.